Okay, here we go. First thing I want to show is the shock absorber on the right-hand side. Let's come around up to the front, looking back at it. You'll see that there's the shock absorber and the mount for the right-hand side, the passenger side. But then, as you come around to the driver's side over here on the left, guess what? It's not even there. Now, I never noticed that in the 10 years I own the vehicle. It doesn't bounce a lot, it doesn't handle poorly, but I did want to make sure that I did tell you that that left side is missing. Here's the left front spring, the axle, backing plate. Under here we've got the battery box, and you'll notice there's no rust at all. It's in great shape, which is nice to see on an older vehicle like this. Up here's the spring for the clutch release, the cover for the flywheel. This is your steering box here, and it's in good shape. The steering is not loose, it doesn't wander. Truck drives right straight down the road. And looking up here, you'll see the master cylinder, barely, but it has been rebuilt. Here looking at the clutch linkage and brake linkage and that sort of stuff. Some wiring. The frame is solid throughout. Here's the front of the left running board mount. There's nothing bent, nothing ever has been. As far as I can tell, everything on this frame is original, straight, strong, not rusted out. It's in terrific shape. Here's the left rear running board mount. Here's a surprise. First time I saw this was when I made this video. We've got the back of the fuel tank dented in. Somebody backed up into something. I don't know when or where, but it's been a long time and the tank does not leak. The rest of the tank looks fine, is in good shape. Everything is fine there. All the cross members are very solid. Everything about the frame and the underside is original and solid as far as I can tell. Truly in great shape. Brake lines are fine. Here's the left shock, and on the right side we've got one back there, so only the right front is the one that's missing. The bottom of the differential here looks wet. It has looked that way for a long time. It's not losing a lot of fluid. I did service the differential and it didn't seem to take a whole lot, but you can see that it is a little bit wet here. It's clearly coming from the front seal, and once again, it's not a whole lot, but it does have a little bit of weeping on the seal. Okay, over here, the left side rear spring, brake line looks fine. All the brake lines are fine. Here's your left rear backing plate. I did adjust the brakes, replaced all the bleeder valves. Other than that, the brakes are in great shape. The springs here again, your frame, that rubber bumper looks almost brand new. You can see some of the wiring. It's not the prettiest back here, but it functions just fine. Looking up underneath the back of the bed now, all the wood is good and solid. No rot or anything in any of the wood in the bed. Here's your right side starting going forward. Rear shackle. Springs. I love the massive beefy springs on this thing. It is a 1-ton. This right rear drum, of course, again, all the brakes are dry and adjusted, and the whole brake system is just fine. More up here at the top, shock mount, frame, underside of the bed. Coming up next, we got the exhaust system. I have added only a couple pieces here. They're new. I welded them up, put them in. Otherwise, it's all the way it was when I got it. The vertical chrome stack was with it when I got it. This is the, I was almost going to say original. This is the muffler that came with it when I got it. The front pipe, header pipe here is in fine shape, and up on the top, the only thing I did is replace the gasket there for the header. And this is your parking brake, safety brake, emergency brake, depending on your time period, but it is adjustable and it works fine. Back of this transmission has a little bit of wetness to it, but it's been that way a long time. I'm sure we have a little bit of weepage coming out of that rear seal, but not much to speak of. There's the plug, kind of same thing there. Bottom of the transmission. Now we're looking up here again at the brake and clutch linkage, the spring, and the bottom of the pan. seen all that before. But over here we've got the new mechanical fuel pump that works fine. Don't know what else to say about it. There it is. There is some wetness again up here. Now this I did clean before. I pressure washed this a while back. It's leaking, but you can see it's very, very little, but there is some wetness. I want to make sure I pointed that out. That's from your front seal, of course. This is a cool little ball check oil drain thing. You pull this lever out sideways and turn it this way and out it comes. Makes changing your oil a lot easier. Kind of a neat item. Not original, of course, but it's still a neat item. We're going to look up front here at the left front fender, and you're going to see this rust spot that was not mentioned before, but you see them all in the stills. All the rust spots I've found are going to show in the stills. They're not a lot, but I want to make sure you see everything. Up here, looking up and over at the interior side of the left front fender, looks like all the rest of them, no real damage, just a couple of rust spots like that one there too. Again, you'll see all those in the stills. I've found everything I possibly can. There's not much to report. Up here, the floorboards, both sides are in great shape. They've never been repaired. There was some rust on the top. I scraped it off of that right side, but other than that, they're in terrific shape and very strong. Everywhere I look underneath this vehicle just looks solid and strong. It's a survivor. It's either had a total frame off restoration or it's a really good survivor, and I'm not sure which. Back in '94, I have a tag from '94 that shows that it was being a show truck at that point. So it's a show truck from '94 to '08 when I got it. Here's the right rear engine mount. It's solid, as is the left rear engine mount. Pretty much everything underneath the vehicle looks great to me, except for those few small oil leaks. And of course, the big surprise of the day, this dented rear portion of the fuel tank. It's a pretty significant dent, but as I said before, it doesn't leak. It might hold a little less gas, but I don't think that's a problem. And finally, here at the bottom rear of the cab is that rust spot I mentioned before. I wanted to point that out. I think you've pretty much seen them all now.